Today we definitely have to try to finish the Samyojana, okay? And before I think we start to maybe to reach a certain sutta, probably the certain suttas give you have maybe a better understanding how the work factors been understood in the Sutta Pitaka. The Sutta Pitaka is a large thing, but pertaining particularly in the connected discourse. Okay, and before we go that, I'd like to ask that do you have any question with what we talked about last week? Any question? Okay, everybody is very quiet, but I don't know the reason the quiet is because you know very well, because you don't understand at all, and you don't remember anything at all, or it doesn't matter. Yes?
Can you say something more about the 此称会比称的贪嗔少的称?
No, I mean that the word actually, I think if I'm not wrong, when we mentioned that because of the sutta, right? The word they use pratika. Pratika actually, the word pratika, you can understand as like, when the mind have a conflict or something that hitting in your heart. But this word is not the same word as when usually we say dosa. Those like when you say there's a word like 贪嗔痴, so when you say there's a hatred, there's the delusion, and then there's the attachment, but it's not the same word. Okay.
So it's not something like a doubtness.
No, it's the same. It's still related to anger, but we are not using the same word like a Chinese, 嗔. Right? The two chen, like 贪嗔痴, when you say the trade poison, the word chen, it's okay, translate in English, say anger. But then the other word, that here you say, you said the word called pratika. The word is not the 贪嗔痴, the word is not same, because the word in Pali is called dosa. Okay, that is kind of pratika, but it's still related to the anger. But of course, depends on people, but according my understanding, particularly if you study Abhidharma in a different way, so different words like kroda, and pratika, upanihasa, and dosa, those are the same thing refer to anger. But there's a difference. When you say the word dosa, you mostly refer to the mula, mean the very fundamental root anger. Okay, so it can maybe cover everything, cover anything related to the anger. But sometimes, normally when you use the word krodha or krota in Sanskrit, so it refers to actually you are getting anger. So that you are, mostly you kind of like express it, your anger. Maybe you don't speak it, maybe you don't use your body language to show it, but then your face certainly is very clear, you have anger. So that's called krodha. But sometimes when you use upanihasa, it's more like that's why there's a Abhidharma, they have the description for that. So you kind of like, actually, I think if I'm not wrong, like you feel really angry already. Okay. And then that's how you started to have the lao, ku nao. And then because you hold on this kind of the thing. Pratika is more like when you feel like you're not feel comfortable about it. You just not feel comfortable. So you have a kind of like conflict in your mind. That might be you don't want to be like that, but still you keep on, not happy. Okay. So that's what if I'm not wrong, I think that's what I mean by the. But of course, some people don't care about the term. They think that that's the same. That's another thing. It's not my my judge by that. But I definitely think, I believe that sometimes the Buddha might be used the term loosely, but sometimes definitely not for Abhidharma. But sometimes maybe the Buddha doesn't use the term loosely. It's just like in our normal language, right? Sometimes we might be very precise depending on who the person we are talking about. And if we are going to describe many things about anger, and that there are different happening inside our mind relate to the anger, definitely that time he had to talk about the issue of anger in the different levels with the different language to describe it, right? Like 愤怒, and Chinese say 愤怒, 恨, those it's related to the anger. 愤怒, 恨, 还有这个 practical more like I think it's more like a 怀恨, but it's no 怀, it's just 就是矛盾, 应该这么说. If I use the term, I may use it like 矛盾. 矛盾 is a kind of unpleasant feelings, anger there. So the 矛盾, 愤怒, 恨, 还有懊恼, those are the anger. Okay. But sometimes I think that, I'm not sure, of course, the original text in Chinese, whether they really are different. But we can only do that nowadays because we don't have any Sanskrit or any, the Chinese original version before it translates into Chinese. But we can only compare. But all the time they just translate 愤怒 or 嗔. So, but in Pali, it's not the case. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
And the practice of metta is the antidote
to everything.
To both.
Only thing, the last thing is that you won't be able to eradicate totally of the anger, of the dosa. Because that's only you can eradicate through the vipassana, right? But then you can put this away. That's why it's said that when you have a metta, so the avero, what is that? What's the term they have? So 无恼无害嘛. So ahimsa will arise, and I had to find the term now. So there were several terms. But I think that it's also, when you say that, especially if you later we're going to talk about more about this anger. So if we have time, I don't know whether we have to talk it. So it did say that there are 3 of them included in remember in the list of the 75 Dharma according to the standard Sarvastivada. There are 3 types of anger. Okay, if you are for your interest, look at the chart I gave it to you last time. 75 Dharma. And you look at this called Parita Klesa Mahabhumika, in Chinese called 小烦恼地法, right? All right. So, everyone has this one? You get it now? Look at the page C, A, B, C, right? So you see you have the word Kroda, and you have the word Upanaha, right? And then you have another word, let me say, is the Pradasa, right? And then Vihimsa. So when you look at this, later on when you learn Abhidharma, you will learn which they are much more associated to what of the root, which root. So like the Kroda, I mean the first one, anger, the Upanaha, enmity, and then this, which one, the now, Pradasa, okay, Pradasa, it's the 4, and then number 10, Vihimsa, the harmfulness. Those 4 actually are directly related to the dosa, to the root of the anger, right? So in other words, if you have the loving kindness, it's for clear that when you have a loving kindness mind with you, and then the anger, here we translate number 1, number 2, and number 5 certainly will be removed. In a way, when you say remove here, it will be subdued, you could say, they will not arise. Because like a coin, you can look at 2 sides just only. So when you have a loving kindness, that these 3 certainly will be removed. And then when you have a compassion, so that's how the general teaching understand, then the number 10 will be, definitely removed. But usually, even when you're loving kindness, you may remove already. But then actually, that's interesting thing is that if you had jhana mean when you have the loving kindness jhana, or any type of jhana, so these 10 things will be subdued. They will not arise. Get it now? I think once, 2 years ago, I particularly give a talk about this in, I think in the library, maybe. I forgot. But I don't think people, oh, not in the library, maybe during, anyway, I knew that that was a time I give a talk about. I remember it was in Chinese, yes, because that time one of the nuns who teach Yogacara school mostly, mere consciousness school, she was there too. So anyway, so that's the reason why it's called Parita Klesa Mahabhumika. It's called or you could say the minor, the background of the minor dharma. It's because when you have, they appear individually, they don't appear together, okay? That's one of the characteristics. They not only just appear individually, they also can be subdued when you have jhana. The moment you are in the jhana, there's no way this tending will appear. Understand? Okay, understand? So that's the reason I always emphasize the importance of jhana is like that, because especially if you study Abhidharma. So if you have the jhana, then you can check this tending will not be there. But when you are out of when you have these tendings appear to you, you know that moment you don't have the jhana power. But of course, when you have the loving kindness mind, then as I mentioned already, then the 3 things should be away. When you have these, the 3 things I just mentioned already, number 1, number 2, and number 5. And when you have the compassion, so sometimes actually when you have loving kindness, that's enough, because if your loving kindness is very strong. But you know that literally we will say, certainly if you have compassion, number 10 will be removed, right? Certainly if you have the joy meditation, number 4 will be removed, okay? But that's for sure. If you have the equanimity, then the rest also will be removed, you know. We are going to, those are the items we are going to learn later also. Even though it looks like we haven't, according to Skandila Abhidharma, this text Abhidharmavatara, you know, didn't group it this way, but you know, at least still, I mean, this is become a standard because influenced by Chinese school, basically, I would say. And the 75 Dharma have been listed. But that definitely is not the only list, okay? Please understand that. Even if you look at the Abhidharma Kosa, that wasn't enough. Yeah. Yes, they have questions.
Yeah. So in the Sarvastivada tradition, a non-returner eliminates Patita?
No, the non-returner, anagami, non-returner eliminate the dosa.
Dosa, but dosa is not included in the 9 feathers in the Sarvastivada tradition.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Even when we usually in the Sutta Pitaka, I remember this also, if you learn in the Sutta Pitaka from the text, normally we say the factor, sometimes we don't know which factor they will refer to, right? But sometimes when you use the term exactly the same term, the factors are called in Pali or Sanskrit called samyojana. So it always refer to these, like the upper factors and lower factors, right?
Yeah.
Remember? So if it refer to the lower factors and upper factors, the upper factors here for the anagami, because for the first level sainthood called Sotapanna, Sakadagami. Do you know this term? No, it's all right if you don't know, you raise your hand. I can just write. Even though you don't remember next time, but you at least know. Try to get familiar with the term. Like, you know, like you are, if you are devoted Buddhism, so you definitely have to know to be a Buddha or to be Arahant. Before to be Arahant, you have to go to a certain level of sainthood. You cannot jump, like without any education. Then you're a professor. There's no way. Okay, but you can be the first level sainthood jump to the 3rd level sainthood. That can be. Like you can be graduate without master, you can do a PhD. Okay, but you cannot without degree at all, and then you have a PhD. No. All right. So that's why the sainthood. So remember, like next time, Sotabana. I just say the Satgada. Satgada. No, I'm thinking because I know Pali. I was trying to find the Sanskrit. Sakada. Sakada. Well, even in Pali, how to write? Sakkka.
Sakdamin.
Yeah, Sakada. Sakada. Mi. Anagami. Arahat. So there are four, but of course, this is also. We know that when you say about the factors, normally in the sutta refer to the 10 factors. Remember? Yes, the last week with the class, the 10 factors. Okay, tell me which are the 10. The lowest 5 factors. Which are the lowest 5 factors? And I get the one we're going to mention, we're going to read. Well, maybe the easier. So, let me just say it. Okay, the what usually say the existence of the view of the body or a view of accumulation, and then holding to the precept which is not precepts. Okay, maybe easier to translate that way, and the doubt. Right. So for those who are Sotapanna, they will eradicate these 3 already of the 5 factors, right? 5 lower factors. And then for those who attend Satgatagami, the second levels of the sainthood, will be diminish the power. Diminish the power. It's not completely eradicate. Diminish the power of the last, okay, last mean the yuan, okay, and the one more. Hello.
Anger.
Yeah, and then the anger, right? So for the anagami, so the last anger completely removed. This is for Sakatagami only just diminished, like very low, just a little there. In other words, mean you don't see these people get angry unless they think it's a really big deal. He will get angry, and then after some time remove it. But anagami, it will never arise. Okay. Even you slap his face, of course you don't do that. You'll have a very worse bad karma in your life. Okay. I'm just saying that. So even you slap his face, he wouldn't get angry. Okay. That is for the anagami, and there's no lust. In other words, they would never disrobe. Okay. Because of woman or because of what? Because of the sexual thing, okay? So that's the reason anagami definitely there's no anger. You can never see them angry. Never, never, never. Okay, yes?
Does he feel the pain if you slap him?
He feel the pain, but they understand that's the only suffering and the impermanence or the non-self. They will not react because we react because we hold on the image, hold on the of course, in Mahayana, we use a word called you differentiate, like, oh, he's my enemy, So no, for them, whatever sensation comes to them, they only understand as even the minimal level only is like impermanence or so and so. They're always in the samadhi also. Samadhi, they would not. So okay, and then for anagami, they even though they remove that completed 2, called the 5 lower factors, and then another 2 more. What are the 2 more? For this of the 5 highest levels factors, what are they? Conceit, yeah.
Non-attachment of form.
Yeah, non-attachment of form and non-attachment of formless, and the other 2? Yeah, agitation or restlessness, right? And delusion, yeah. So, of course, we're talking about this in terms of very deep level, okay? So the anagami will the conceit, we started to actually remove almost complete of the conceit. Okay, but it's almost like getting little, but just only remain very little conceit. According to the, I think in most of the Abhidharma agree with that, is that the conceits only remain, they will think everyone is the same. Okay, they never have thinking I'm better than you, never. In for Anagami, the only conceit they remain is just they think the same. Okay, the proudness, the conceit, and of course that's the reason why, because they are not completely remove the attachment to the form and the formless. That's the reason why they could be born either in the form or formless, right? Remember? Okay. And also the delusion, of course. Here the delusion meaning completely the delusion. We have not referred to the like anger. You have many levels, right? Like the delusion here that refer here to the ultimate delusion. That means the complete delusion. That's the reason only Arahant remove the all five things. You know, there's no conceit and no agitation. I mean, the mind is always clear. For Anagami, sometimes can be disturbed, agitation. Okay, and but for Arahant, all five things will completely remove. Okay, but for Anagami, of course, I think the main thing is the three things they are still strong, if you want to say. So attachment to the form, attachment to the formless. You know what does mean attachment to the form and form? It's very high level to talk about. Even people maybe understand there's for this true level sense, they understand, of course, there's a formless, like the form, not only regard to the form existence, but you know they would never reborn. I'm sure you know already. For Anagami, they would never reborn to the desire room, because they definitely know the desire. That's why they abandon the whole lust, right? Remember I said that the Anagami completely remove the lust. That's why they can never, Anagami never reborn in the earth, okay, or as a human, because there's still the lust. So if they were reborn, they only reborn to the form and the formless rhyme. Okay, I think maybe that's so far. That's it's okay. It's clear. Okay.
So dosa is not considered as a feather in the Sarvastivada tradition.
No, it is. It is.
But they are nice.
No, the list is different, because this is why today I give you this text, the last little text to read, because actually Sarvastivada didn't explain why, but the thing is they want to cover everything in, I mean, because they consider the factors not in terms of the so-called the 5 lower levels factors and then 5 higher levels of factors. You know what I'm saying? But you might be question is that, but what about the sutta say that? No, the sutta not always use the term samyojana, even the factors, always regard to the 5 lowest level factors and 5 higher levels of factors. Understand what I mean? This is somehow read your mind. I'm joking. That's why the text I'm giving the handout, you can find the term factors even in sutta is not always refer to that 10 factors. You know what I'm saying? Hello? Are you feeling boring? Yes?
I just had a question. You know, when you talk about the lust, is there such thing as like higher level lust and lower level? I mean, the lust that people feel every day toward object
feel every day. We say the higher level, lower level, it just means the higher level of the factors and lower levels of factors.
But then
The lust is included in the lower levels of factors.
Then my question is, if you actually have a lust toward object, person, animal, but you don't act upon it, it's just mental.
It's still lust.
Yeah, so what do you do? Shoot yourself? Or, I mean, you cannot deny it. You cannot deny
No,
it.
depend on what do you, let's say, what do you mean by the lust in regard to what?
Oh, maybe you see an iPhone or a person with an iPhone, go iPhone, and you want to kill them or something?
No, that is called craving. If you have the craving with regard to this like iPhone, it's the possession. You have craving with the possession. No, that is not lust.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, you're talking about sexual lust, right?
Yeah, the last year refer to more like a sexual or or maybe a kind of physical gratification.
Oh, that's different than craving or whatever.
Yeah, in a subtle level, that's called craving. If the one you will say is craving,
Yeah.
the last year refer to more like the obvious ones is a sexuality, but the lesser one it would be like a kind of gratification. Say you want to hear something nice, you want to eat something nice all the time, and those are the yeah. For anagami, that's the reason why for anagami they have kind of this already, and definitely whatever you give them to eat, there's no concern, you know. But if you're the sotapanna and sakadagami, they might be, you know, sometimes thinking about why don't I eat that, you know. For a long time I haven't tried this good food. But for anagami, no, it's fine. Whatever, it's fine. Just say the food is one, you know. Certainly, as I say, for anagami, definitely there's no sexual attraction at all. It never happened to that, not even in the mind.
It's very, very confusing.
Confusion?
Very confusing because the music we listen, right? Then there's a Buddhist music, a lot of chanting, right? So if you have craving for that, then how are you going to differentiate that?
No. They don't even crave for the Buddhist music. I mean, I'm talking about not the Sotapanna, not the Sakadami. Because according to the list, or according to what we agree, the Anagami definitely don't have the craving. And I mean, here the last, if you say in the subtle level, mean like something pleasant the ears, right? No matter whether it's any music, but he's not against you open the music to him or to her, you know what I'm saying? But he would not say, why don't you open that music? I like it so much, you know. But sometimes he listens maybe for upaya reason. Upaya means for the skillful reason. Just he doesn't want to disturb the people out of compassion. But he himself do not have the arising thinking, oh, I should listen to that music now. Whatever my kind of music, whether you say it's Buddhist or not, no.
Is this a kind of a natural or is it kind of a trained response, you know?
It's trying to respond. It's not trying to respond. It's a kind because you have cut away the craving. I think maybe we're going to read the text now. In order to read the little text, maybe give you some idea. Okay, how shall we? So look at the notes I just passed down. It's okay. No, it's okay. That's okay. I think. But do you think I can have some more? No. I don't need it now. Okay. So let it page 1. Okay. So we don't have to read because in order to save time, and also as I say, it took me a long time because I had to find the compared version and this and that. But however, you know, if you have time, try to read that, and you have, you know, then you have much more understanding. And this is also a good time. I want to prepare this because for people they hardly read this Agama, or they never read it, so it's a good chance for you to read the earliest Buddhist text, how they are. Okay, and this is one of the short one, the earliest Buddhist text. So now look at firstly, in order to just for the quicker manner, we just look at the sutta is from the 45 from Samyutta Nikaya called Magga Samyutta. But the sutta number is 41 to 48. Okay, why is 41 to 48? If you look at it, because the number 41, the title is the fading away of the last. Okay, and I think here, yeah, this is the last. Now the other one is that the 42 is the abandon of the fetters. Okay, and then the 43 is the uplifting the underlying tendency. Okay, now we are still in page 1. If you see, there's a Pali word like Samyojana Bahanatang, right? You saw there's a different character. And then there's another second one is called Anusaya. Anusaya, it should be, yeah, Anusaya Samukha Tanatang, okay, like that. So for the uplifting the underlying tendency, that's a 43. And the next one is the full understanding of the cause is 44, like that. Okay, I'm not going to list it now. So, okay, this text has come about interesting. Why? So that time, once the Buddha at the Savatthi, we are reading the text called the fading away of the last. Okay. And then the Buddha tell the monk, he say, if there's a other sects ask you, here mean refer to not Buddhist, okay, but actually I think now even with Buddhists, they may ask you the same question. But you know, in the Buddha's time, it's very clear who is Buddhist, who is not Buddhist. Now it's so confusing, okay? Even the Buddhists are confused of themselves. But anyway, here refer to during the Buddha's time, okay? So don't fool yourself thinking that now the Buddhists don't have the question now. They have much more question maybe. So anyway, he say the wanderers of the other sects ask you, for what purpose, friend, is the holy life lived under the ascetic Gotama? You know, if they ask what's the purpose, you be a monk. In other words, mean you want to follow this holy life. Being asked thus, you should answer them like this. It is, friend, for the fading away of the last that the holy life is lived under the blessed one. Okay, get it now? In other words, if the people ask you, what are these monks doing? I don't know. They only eat, sleep, and they are so cruel, they left the home. Okay, but you have to understand whether they do it or not, idealistically, or if they really know the Dharma, even they don't do it maybe the first few years, after few years, but if they know Dharma, ultimately they will do it. You know what I'm saying? Okay? You get it now? But if the people never learn Dharma, whether they're monks or nuns, properly or rightly, maybe the whole life they don't do it. That I don't know. But I'm sure because I have seen many. Maybe when they were younger, they don't care that much, but when they started to get in like, you know, longer time and they start to realize they should do that. For those who learn the right Dharma, they definitely will go this way. Okay. Anyway, so you know some people need more time, you know, to realize things. Anyway, so remember that's what the Buddha say. If they ask you, then you say it's for the fading away of the last that the holy life is lived under the blessed one. You know. And then, Bhikkhu, if the wanderers of other sects ask you, but friends, is there the path? So I type the word marga here, mean the Tao in Chinese. Is there the Tao? Is there the path? Is there a way? This is Bhikkhu Bodhi translation, okay? The word is patipada. Actually, you can say, you know the word patipada is 随行. Sometimes we translate as a 随行. It's, in Chinese, something you translate this. So sometimes we do translate that, okay? But this word is not like a modern Chinese. So it means a companion, somebody who follow you. No. Here it's referred to, you know, kind of like, yeah, you can say it's a way, but I mean, I don't know how to translate what is the best way, but I normally understand it's almost like you actually, because you walk on the way, okay? Something like that. Yeah, on the path. Yeah, on the path. So, but on the path for what? For the fading away of the last. Okay, right? So that is the path. That's the on the path for the walk on the path for the fading away of the last. Okay, so the word is the raga viraga tang, and for the purpose of casting away, you know, the last. Raga here is not the word. Tanha, okay, tan in Chinese. No, the raga here is referred to the last. Raga is like, just I mentioned already, referred to like lust for sexuality or lust for good thing for your eyes, the ears, nose, and all. You know, like, oh, I must have the nice smell for me all the time. You know, if they don't have the nice smell, they get very angry. You know, like that. Huh? No, it's not the term tanha, raga. It's different. No, the tanha is much more uproot, the fundamental, it's a fundamental thing. Okay? In order, if you can remove the tanha, I think you're arahant already. Okay? But if you remove the raga, you're not necessarily arahant. But of course, you can be arahant, remove the raga. You know what I'm saying? But if you just say, in terms of language, you say somebody removed the raga, that means somebody can be Sotapanna, can be Sakadagami, can be Anagami, right? But if we say somebody removed the Tanha, that means the attachment, if you translate the word attachment or Tanha, so it means it certainly is Arahant. Okay? Yes?
It is kind of a stupid question, but when people create families, like have babies and stuff, maybe there has to be a certain amount of lust involved.
It is.
So then, but how can you cannot create family without a certain amount of attachment, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, that's the reason. It is only believed that those family, layperson, who are they might become the saint as the first level sainthood called the Sotapanna, so they can still have the sexual life. But as a layperson, but not a monk, of course, because monks have the regulation, right? You have to follow the regulation. But if they are in the Sakadagami, I'm not sure anyone can correct me, but I don't remember they have any story to say that, because Sakadagami, they still, I mean, they might have children already, that's another question, but they will not create a new children when they are Sakadagami. Because they are really, that is not, no, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that, I think no, but that's my remember. I'm not good at remember the story all the time, but definitely not for Anagami. And also, according to the Buddhism belief that the layperson cannot be Arahant, but that if they can be Arahant, only two reasons. One is that the time when he is about to ordain as a holy life, like a monk or nuns, or when the layperson is about to die. Okay, then they can be Arahant. Only two reasons. That's what I remember. Maybe have two or three more, but at certain these two is there. That otherwise they cannot be. They always to be only just you know what I mean. The layperson cannot be Arahant. Yeah. As I say, Arahant and Anagami usually, and those people are really, detached from almost everything already. So, yes, looks like everybody are very interested because mostly layperson here. Yes.
Yeah. Layperson cannot be an arahant until around the time he's dying. What do you mean at the time?
I don't know. This is no. On the time he's dying, I mean let's say he have only a few breaths, then he's about to die. So he was anagami already, but then the layperson on the bed and about waiting for the time he's dying. So the last moment when he's because he have the power already, anagami, right? He know all the meditation, all this. So the last moment when before he die, reborn, the last breath, he can be arahant.
Oh, you got to practice.
Huh? No, of course you have to practice even for Sotapanna. You cannot be, oh, come on, give me the Sotapanna. No.
We have to practice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's, yeah, yes, yeah.
I mean, can you relate these levels of sainthood to, like, who would be considered a streaming or who would be considered a once returner?
Who? What do you mean by who?
Those.
You mean in a contemporary time?
No, the sainthood. Of those sainthoods, like, who would be considered, like, would the first one be considered a stream enter?
Oh, I see the term. Actually, sorry, Sotapanna means stream enter.
Oh, okay.
So Sakadagami means one returner.
Okay.
And Anagami, non-returner. Arahat, no name. Okay, Arahat. So, okay. I see. All right. Okay. So, no origami. Okay, no origami. Okay.
Anagami is what? No return?
No return.
Non-returner, no returner. Depends how you translate. Yeah.
Probably the last one.
The Arahat. Yeah. The reason why it's no returner because it will not return to the desired realm, desired sphere, right? Yeah. So it's one returner that they still can return back. Why? As I just mentioned, because they still have a very small desire there, right? The last there.
Anagami is one return.
Yeah, one returner, yeah. But he only will be returned only once. But there's another version to say that also.
But this is talking about just a desire sphere, right?
Yeah, but there's also saying that one returner, they return once to the desired sphere, and then they definitely all has to be Arahant. you know. Okay, Sotapanna, the longest time they will be reborn for the seven lifetimes. Okay.
What that means, second time, how do you count them?
Let's say I die, I'm a Sotapanna before I die, and then I die, I born maybe in the heavens, and then that's one lifetime, and then I come back here again, that's 2 lifetime, and then there again 3 lifetime, and there again maybe the 4 lifetime, and be human again 5 lifetime, be human again 6 lifetime. That's actually is a loser because that's a maximal. Loser mean they should be born that much actually generally if the Dharma is still there. But anyway, that means 7 lifetimes. So, but the Sakadagami only born once. But you have to understand the scheme, the scale. It's because Sakadagami still have, as I mentioned, they still have this the last, right? It's very tiny. So that's why he will be reborn anywhere, but mostly refer to reborn to the human. Mostly, okay. And but then reborn, but then somehow he will realize that this is useless and that So Sakadagami usually they come back, and then they can carry with what the past he was a Sotapanna. So very quickly, that's why they explain that very quickly. If the people were Sotapanna in the past, that means maybe say English is easier. The stream enter as a past. So when he enter the stream enter, he doesn't need to be wait here. He can be one and jump immediately to not when he attend, like when he practice meditation again, say the fulfilling the 37 factors of enlightenment, and then he will immediately become the Sakadagami. Okay? Get it now? So but when the Sakadagami reborn here again, after when he become a Sakadagami, okay, say that generally it's very easy for him to become Anagami and the Arahant. Okay? Because he only have 1 lifetime. So when I say Anagami Arahant means he can be immediately, actually, sometime it's said that it's here he stay very short time and then he become Arahant very quickly. Just mean 1 lifetime. He was just born once. Okay? But for the Anagami, because he doesn't have the last, so here we born in the heavens called Suddha Jinji Ten. It means Suddhaka I forgot the party name. Jinji Ten. Anyway, Suddhaka Wasin. Anyway, I just know that suddenly I just remember Chinese. So that would be in the heavens on the 4th jhana. But that's no one, not everybody can be there, but only this the saint can be born there. So that's why it's called non-returner. They were born in that place. Okay. So I'm not sure whether the Sakadagami born there. I don't think so, but I don't remember now. But so Anagami will born there. When he passed away, immediately become Arahant. Okay. Get it? Understand? So, and also according to this, there's certainly later on in Abhidharma, there's a lot of talk about this also. Because if they become Anagami, you live there, and these kind of heavens always exist, but they say no, they should, only when there's a right Dharma there, they will be exist. When there's no right Dharma there, this heaven will disappear also. Okay. Yes?
So one can decide, determine his own outcome. I mean, people consider.
You mean to become the stream enter?
Yeah, come back for another life or not?
No, that is not your decision. That actually is the law. That's a law. It's a kind of karma, you could say. It's a kind of law. It's a universal law.
So you cannot decide, determine.
Decide what? Let's say, but of course there's a saying that, let's say you are the stream enter, right? Or say that you're Anagami. Maybe that's easier to say. In this life, you're Anagami, but you may not obey, not enough time or whatever reason, because suddenly you got very busy, you have to do many things or whatever. So you cannot be Arahant, because of whatever. So, and do you mean by design like, okay, I don't want to be Anagami, so do you mean by that?
I want to be Arahant.
No, of course everyone when they are this already, they definitely want to be Arahant. Only the people when they're mundane, Pruthujjana, right? Pruthujjana. Only the mundane people, especially people who never do meditation. Okay, mundane people, they never really realize even stream enter. Of course, they don't know whether they want to be arahant. They don't understand what is arahant. They don't know what is nibbana. They all know what is nibbana already. Definitely, they know that's the best thing already. So I don't know what you mean by design.
Determined.
Yeah, they all determined definitely wanted to be arahant and attain nibbana. There's no question. If they don't want to be attain nibbana, then they are not sotapanna. There's no way. Hello? But that's why he cut off the doubt of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and the virtue. And that also regard to, and then they understand what is nibbana. The people actually, they don't know, the normal people, what called the mundane people, they don't, because they never know what is nibbana. That's why they still sometimes have the doubt to the Dharma, the Sangha, and what is meant by the virtue also.
So is it the karma that carries it, not one's...
It means that determined to be reborn to anywhere else, any place else.
No. I'm not sure maybe it's all right if you have question, ask again. I'm not sure your question, where is it? If your question is that when you're anagami, it's not karma. I don't know whether you can call that as a karma in Chinese or in Pali. It just become a universal law that the person who is the non-returner, then if they are in this life, they never attend arahant, then they will born in that kind of heavens.
It's automatic.
Yeah. There's no chance say, oh no, I don't want to go there. I want to stay here. No. And of course, if they think that way, that's also funny. It's not true, according to my understanding in the Buddhist text. And if they have really happened this before, I'm sure, like Mahavipassa is such a huge text. They talk everything possibly happened in the, whether the arahant can be transgressed, like the arahant, then they be a very weak arahant, and then they back to anagami. It said that there some people happen, okay? So that they will discuss, but they never discuss like, the anagami will say, oh, no, I don't want to go there. I just want to be, no. There's no such a, at least never have this discussion. And I believe that in those days, 2,000 years ago, so more than 2,000 years ago, or let's say 2,000, because the Mahavipassa was composed, say, 2,000 years ago. So certainly, there's no such a question about this anyway, I'm saying. They definitely know where to go. Yes?
Bodhisattva.
The Bodhisattva, because the Bodhisattva is not in this list, okay? The Bodhisattva, my understanding, or even if you follow the not the Mahayana first, say the Theravada understanding, the Bodhisattva is, some say, some way of understanding. People think that the Bodhisattva can be very similar to the Sotapanna, the stream antenna. And then when they practice up to this, the 8 bhumi, right, that's called this Wusan Phalan, okay? It's mean Anupanna Dharma, right? Shana. So, and then they are similar to Arhat. Similar, please. I know that when I was young, when I studied Buddhism, they say they are same as Arhat. Actually, no. I look at the text, they just say similar. Okay. Similar and same is 2 different terms, all right? So, so similar to Arhat. So, and then of course, and they have to still practice it further. And then they were able, according to Mahayana way, that they was able to see the Buddha, another universe, kind of universe of the Buddha realm. And then the Buddha will praise of him, that's called the Dharma Mega, right? Fa Yun Di. So, and then we praise of him and say that, oh, you will be the future Buddha. And from that onward, and then he know he will be a Buddha. But what he will practice? Paramita, the perfection. But then some others say that actually, like the Theravada way, say that the Bodhisattva, if there is because before they enter the Sotapanna, they might be about the time like the Sotapatti, okay? I mean somebody who about to become a Sotapanna. So then they are the just people stay with that. But they don't keep on practice. When I say they don't keep on practice, mean There's a little tiny difference there. I don't think this is a big topic, but I just want to say there's a little tiny difference between the two. So especially from a Mahayana perspective, that means in Theravada we always say that time they were inspired because they see the Buddha, they want to be like the Buddha, so they inspire that to become a Buddha you have to perfect many things. So that's why they start to perfect their perfection. So they still practice all the time, but then they also make much effort to be perfect the kind of what we call what we call the dana, means the wealth, perfection. So each perfection we let them to have a perfect looks also. Have the curly hair, have these long arms, long ear loops, and 32 marks, a long time. So according actually my understanding, even from the Zen Mahayana or Theravada tradition, and then they have to practice at least 3 incalculable time. Some say the 600, some say the 1,000, there's kalpas, eons, and in order to perfect, to be a Buddha. And that's the quickest one. It is a huge job, okay? Hello, okay?
When you say there are 7 lifetimes at most for a string enterer to achieve arahantship, is the 7 a definite number, or it's just
that's
an indicator for many lives?
No, that's very clear from the Buddha, the Agama.
So it's not an indicating for many lives. So if a bodhisattva has to be a sotapanna, then there is only
they cannot be sotapanna.
7 lives time to practice.
No, they cannot be sotapanna.
Okay.
A bodhisattva accordingly cannot be a sotapanna, so that's why called a bodhisattva. Okay, and of course in Mahayana, that's why like a Yogacara school, which I much more prefer. So that's why they say very clearly, this is for the Travagayana, Seng Wen Chen. So and then up to a certain time, you need to shift yourself. Before you enter the Sotapanna, you need to shift yourself, make the vow and practice your great compassion, and so on to develop the Bodhisattva path. Yeah. Okay. Any question? No? I'm surprised, no question.
In that sense, a bodhisattva can only be a worldly person. He can never be a noble one, right?
No, but in the Bodhisattva path in Mahayana, of course, they are noble one also. Even though in the tradition you didn't mention that, that's the reason why in the Mahayana text they add they are the noble person, and also all bodhisattva are also noble person. But what the bodhisattva would concern, like a Stravagayana or the Theravada, would concern everyone has to be Stravagayana. So because only if you are Stravagayana, or you have to be Sotapatti, not Sotapatti. I think once I did give a talk here, did I? Maybe not here. I say there are 7 types of person. If you are the type of person belong to the faith person, and you practice up to you see the impermanence, and you're able to see the ceasing of the Dharma, even though this life, even though you are not, because you don't have time, whatever, you didn't practice and become Sotapanna, but in the Buddhist text believe that these people on the verge of dying, unless it's very unfortunate, if somebody remind him, let's say 1 word only, everything is impermanent. At the verge of dying, he become Sotapanna. That's why for the Theravada or for so-called Stravagayana, the one who following this hearing, to be a Sotapanna is become a way that somebody will never fall back to as a mundane person. Okay, it's become almost like a guarantee you will become Arahant. But for the Bodhisattva, that's the reason why they always talk about the term called 不退转, right? Our Nirvana, I think, in Sanskrit. 不退转. So every school or Mahayana try to talk you how a Bodhisattva would not be affected by any factors, external reasons, any reasons that they will be back to like a normal person. That's their concern. Okay? This is why even in Amitabha Sutra and all Sutra, Yogacara Sutra, any sutra that you talk about that, then you reach this, the 不退转, right? You will not return to what to as a mundane person. But that's not in this scheme, okay? All right. Okay, I should give you, say at least, even though we don't have much time, you have the 10 minutes break, half-hour break just now. So have 5-minute break, and we're back here. Okay. It's the text when you go back, but unfortunately, because some of the text I couldn't find the equivalent in English also. And also, because when I work on this is in Dajie Temple, I don't have the text with me, I mean the English one. But anyway, the first page one, we're back to the text. I will just guide through a little bit, okay, and you go back and read the detail. So the page one basically mean, when you look at the list, you can see that actually when there's the non-Buddhist practitioner, if they ask you what the Buddhist people who study under the Buddha, what they were doing, so, and then you had to reply, they were doing, this basically they have to reply that they are for the fading away of the last, or they are for the abandoning of the factors, okay, and or for the uprooting of the underlying, because this all we're going to learn, anusaya, 水面, okay, we're going to learn later, or for the full understanding of the cause called atana parinyata. Anyway, it's understanding, basically refer maybe like a sila, the virtue, the samadhi, and the banya. Or for the destruction of the tens, we're also going to learn, also asava, the tens. And for the realization of the fruit and the true knowledge and liberation called Vijja Vimutti Palasacchi Kalayatang. Anyway, so those are the, it's one word. So for the realization of fruit of the true knowledge and the liberation, it's more like, the very later stage of the realization, like become the stream enter and so on. And for the sake of knowledge and vision, yana dasana, of course, those are also like, this is definitely, so we talk in the Pali, it means, when they're in a very later stage of the realization. So or the last one is for Arahant only, for the Anupada Parinibbanatan, for the holy life, for the Nibbana, final Nibbana without clinging, okay? 就是无意涅槃, or in Chinese, okay? So Anupada Parinibbana, okay? So, and I mean, we Nepal. So, I mean, that's, if they ask, then you tell them that is for that sake. Now, why I want to list here is also important to know. Look at this, there were a few things here we're going to read it later. It's the samyojana, the factors, right? And then we're going to read this underlying tendency, anusaya, 水面, and it's a big topic actually. And then also the destruction of the ten, asava, okay? I mean, this is all we are going to talk later. And then for the realization of fruit of, the asava, I think those things that's so far, for the defilements thing. With regard to defilement. So then you know that actually the Abhidharma, I also want to tell you in a way, the Abhidharma put this term here is not invention, it's there already, okay? They just like itemize it and put it, arrange it in a way for the easy for your study. All right, look at the page number three actually. What do these factors mean also? Okay, sometime. The chapter is called the Samyojana, it's called things that factors. So you have to understand when you say the factors, also might be, before we understand the content of it, so the term factors also in the Buddhist earliest text can be understand like the paragraph second, the last part, the text, okay, and on the page 3, the end of the bottom of the line you can see, and what bhikkhus are the things that factors, and what is the factor, and then now the factor is the Buddha say, the I bhikkhus is a thing that factors. The desire and lust for it is the factor there, okay? In other words, mean how factors arises, yes, it is because the desire and the lust for it. So then the factors there. I mean, if you have the desire and the lust for the factors there, that is a factor, that you can put it this way to say. For those who read the Pali, maybe much easier to understand grammatically, that's why I put the Pali there. So up to the eyes is the same, the ears is the same, the nose is the same, the tongue is the same, the bodily is the same, and the mind is the same. That's why the last on the page 4 say, the mind is a thing that factors the desire, and last for it is the factors there. They are called the things that factors, and this is the factors. Okay. So then the factors can be understand kind of, you might not know the content, but you at least that with that people attached to it or have the lust for it, then that will be arises the factors. Okay, right. Look at the Chinese. I'm sure for those who read the Chinese, so you might be understand. I'm not going to read the Chinese because you're the English one now, but also the page 4, the next text, we don't have a parallel version in the Pali, okay, but only in the Chinese. Okay. The text is very clear. I mean, for those who doesn't know the Chinese, you have to rely on my translation. Now, I didn't translate. So generally means that the Buddha say when we are clinging to the 5 aggregates, there are five clinging aggregates, 5 grasping aggregates. So they are the grasping to the form, grasping to the feelings, grasping to the conception, grasping to the formation, and grasping to the consciousness. And then they start to divide what you mean by grasping to the form, like the 4 elements, the great 4 elements, and then also the secondary elements of and if you those are the grasping. However, if you understand or if you can perceive, they are the impermanence, they are suffering, they are changing. For those grasping, for example, like a form, and then the grasping of the form will be abandoned. So it's not abandon the form, the grasping of the form. In other words, the grasping itself will abandon. You could say that if you want to comment it more. So and then they will be abandoned. They will be seized, and then somebody will not attach to it or without the lust to it, and then it will calm down. And then also will be disappear. So the other grasping there's no way for the other grasping to the form will be continue. So in other words, it will not continue, it will not arise, it will not appear again. So that's why you call this is wonderful. Now I give this term to you, it's called wonderful because later on when you learn Saravastivada, you have to remember the term wonderful. Why? Because this is a path. According to the Saravastivada, the ceasing, the ceasing have one of the characteristics. When you talk about 4 noble truths, you have the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the cease of the suffering, and the truth of the leading to the ceasing of suffering, right? But according to Saravastivada practice, you will learn that later. So altogether, you have to perceive everything in the truth of the ceasing of suffering. One of them is mean wonderful. Okay, so you have to able to perceive not only just truth of suffering, but you have to perceive the truth of suffering have 4. That's why altogether 16. Okay. Anyway, I know it's confusing you now, but you just know something like that. So that's also the Saravastivada because of this term is there. Okay. So, but when they are ceased, so they will not arise, they will not appear. That's why it's called wonderful, and that's why it's called coming or Upasama. Actually, the original term means cease, complete ceased. So because someone is completely cast away the last, to everything, and without the last, complete cease, nibbana. Okay, that's nibbana. The same thing to now we come to the page 5 now. The same thing to the feelings, the same thing to the 6 kind of feelings of the body, 6 kind of the perception towards the body, 6 type of when the body here actually refer to accumulation. Okay, so accumulation like 6 type of just now we say about the form, right? And then I will say about the 6 type of the feelings, 6 type of the accumulation of feelings, 6 type of the accumulation of the perception, 6 type of the accumulation of the intention, That's referred to the formation, the 行运, the formation. And then 6 type of the accumulation of the consciousness the same way. Okay. Now anyway, so that's why it say if the next slide say if anyone have the Dharma with the wisdom to contemplate, here actually the 思维 is not thinking. Okay, this is very unfortunate, especially those people who study Guanlun. They learn this the Lamni Shem or 思维 they always think they're thinking. It's not. The term is mean manasikaroti, mean actually it's in a meditation. Okay, it's called the term is called manasikaroti. Okay, karoto. So when the people can direct their mind, apply the mind to the wisdom, and investigate and analyze. 分别 here is to to check it again and again, and also shanti learn. The word actually we're going to learn also in Sarvastivada. So this is why it's interesting. This text is not in Pali. I don't know why, but there are so many terms Sarvastivada are like it. This text, I'm saying that. Okay. And then there's a shanti. So that's why it's called somebody who follow the faith, and then they will be uplifted. They're reborn, So I just general translate general, and they beyond the mundane people. And then if they are not attend the stream enter, so even though they are not attend the stream enter, before they die, they definitely will become stream enter. Just what I mentioned, okay. If they have reached that stage. So if there anybody who with the Dharma, wisdom, and then the same way, and then they definitely the same way. If they are not enter the stream enter, before they die, definitely become stream enter. So and so on, because of they cut off the 3 factors, and then what are these 3? That mean the will on the body, accumulation, the grasping to the wrong precepts, and then the doubt. So they are the stream enter, and they will never fall to born to the woe place, right? And they must be always reach to the samyak sambodhi. Okay, that means the right body. That means you can say the right wisdom. And then, and then 7 life of reborn to the heavens or the human realm. So ultimately they will leave all the suffering. So anyway, bhikkhu, if it is Dhamma, somebody, just what I mentioned earlier, there are 6, there's the forms, there are 6 feelings, 6, the perception and so on. And then if they can direct their mind to see it, and when the mind would never have, will have any defilements, so it's called Arahant. Okay. Now, the term we very famous, and what Arahant is that he would done what he should done. And then he have laid down all the burden on his shoulder. Or you don't need to say shoulder. Lay down all the burdens, and then he gained what he should be gained. He gained all the benefit by himself. So and he cut off all the factors. So and then with the right wisdom, the mind completely liberated. So that's the Arahant. Okay. When you read the text, it's like that, but actually there are so many subtle things there. If you read that again, you'll find. Now another text actually is from the same thing called the Samyukta Agama. It's from 105, right? But you do have the similar one, but it's not exactly the same. Similar one in Pali, okay? In the Samyutta Nikaya number 44 and number 9, Sutta of the 44 Samyukta. So basically, actually, this is the basically is a text about that time. So because there are so many popular master pass away, and then however, usually the master pass away, people will say, oh, this master will be reborn, to the heavens, or that master actually reborn back to as a human again. But but however, this person come to ask the Buddha, so that how do you know that, those who are under the Buddha teachings and practice, how do you know whether these people were born to the heavens? How do you know that the people were born to the other place and so on? Okay. or they will not reborn. There's no further life. But actually the interesting is the Buddha reply here. I want to give the story short. The Buddha reply, it's not only two. I mean, because that's a wrong way. If the people think that someone died, they will reborn again and again and again and again. So the Buddha say it's an eternal will. It's not right. It's not right will. If you say that somebody died will not reborn again, it's also not the right will, because that is called Ujjayavada, means you believe in only one life. That's it. It is not the right will. But then the Buddha also tried to emphasize that actually there are people who pass away, like the Arahant. You cannot find where he was reborn, because it's beyond that concept of reborn. So that is basically is a kind of right view. Okay. So I do put a bracket here. It did say that. So, and then and he said that Chanda, Sheni, not Chanda, sorry, Sheni. I don't know what is the name of him in Pali, but anyway. So he say, because I don't mean. Basically, he want to say that I only say that. But you cannot say like those people who become Arahant, where they reborn. He say, I only will say they are the one who cut off all the lust, and abandon all the fetters. And then they, with the right, that basically they are liberated with their right mind, and they are ultimately have to be, end the suffering. Okay. So that's why, from the long past, I always say there's a proud conceit called over-conceit, gathering of conceit, arising of conceit, and basically means the born of conceit, arising of conceit. And if anyone stay in endlessly conceit, and then and if they can perceive this kind of conceit, and then the suffering will not reborn. Okay, this is an interesting text because we're going to talk also. I thought today we have time anyway. We didn't. So about the conceit also. So there are 7 types of conceit. So why the conceit is being mentioned? Look at it. This text before it said you had to end the factors, right? But he also say that. So if anybody can always check on the conceit, then there's a way. Basically, in a way, you could say a simple version means someone definitely can able to cut off their suffering. Okay, the conceit is one of the very important factors. Okay. Okay. All right. Are you feeling boring now? We still have 2 minutes. If we have 2 minutes, we finish the text first, and let me see. Okay, look at the page 7. If on the Chinese text, okay, the page 7. If you look at the text called Samyutta Agama number 26, you could see that, and there's an equivalent in Pali one. It's called Vasijjata. Okay, it's a long text. I just cut it short here. So. Generally means actually the Buddha always emphasized you should practice again and again and again, and practice this almost like the 7 factors of enlightenment based on the 4 establishment of mindfulness, and so on and so on. I'm not here to explain all those things already. I presume you should know this, but you may not. But it's fine. You can learn it later. So in other words, mean you have to be practice again. So, in other words, mean if you practice again and again, so you will cut off all these factors, and then you look at the Chinese term, 如是比丘尽勤修习，随顺成就，一切皆富. Okay, actually I forgot to put that. This is their how to say? This is they put the what you call the comma and everything. Yeah, the punctuation. Sorry, thank you. But the punctuation should be 节 is one word, 富 is another word. Okay, so that's why that's why I say the punctuation. In those days there's no punctuation, but the Sibeda they put the punctuation in such a way. Okay, but actually 一切劫富使烦恼禅见得解脱. In other words, mean here the Buddha said that very clearly. So if the monk practice, the 7 factors of enlightenment again and again and again, all these factors, all these bandhana, I don't know what we translate here, I forgot. All these bondage, maybe we translate. All these 死 is mean samyot. 死 is the 睡眠 is anusaya. Okay, that's the term in those that you use. Where 睡眠, the same word, 死 and 睡眠. So all these, I have to look at the chart. It's so difficult to remember so many languages. What they translate here? These proclivities, okay, and then all these fanao here called klesa, defilements, and all these chan pariyuktana. I know in Sanskrit. Let me see. In translate called English is envelopments. Okay, so are slowly being liberated. So why? Because you practice and practice again. And what do you practice? And you practice the 4 establishment of mindfulness, 4 striving force, 4 actually relate to the concentration, the samadhi, and then 5 roots, 5 power, 7 factors of enlightenment, and noble eightfold path, right? So and then all this, what we are going to learn, the content will be slowly removed. Okay. And the last text, actually, I would like to mention here is the last text that mentioned on. There are so many texts, but I want to mention here on the 7. It was Ananda said that. Okay, the text number 276, but we can move to the page 8. Okay. So it is interesting, actually. This text is the same thing the Buddha also and Ananda addressed to the nun. How they practice. So, and he also said that, just like somebody who know how to cut, have the, a butcher, have the very sharp knife. They know how to cut, what is any part of the body of a cow. So, and like that, the people, the noble person with the wisdom, they can cut all kind of this, like the same thing. The fetters, the bondage, the proclivity, and then the defilements, and then the samfan. It's interesting to translate samfan, but it's called anuklesa. So we also have here the list here, actually, not the list. I think in my notes it will be, what is that? Klesa. I think we have 烦恼，还有一个水烦恼 upaklesa. Sorry. So 31 on the list 31, but he translated called 三烦恼. Okay, upa, and then you have pariyuktana also the chan. So I think it's called envelopments. So anyway, that's to show you this kind of list also actually mentioned in the text. Even though might be during the Buddha's time, we don't know. Of course, we don't know. Maybe during the Buddha's time, and further they will explain what they are. But they presume they know that already. So, but in Abhidharma here at least, so we are going to learn it the next time. Unfortunately, next time I'm not going to give you any handout, I guess. Maybe the best is that, so we're going to look at the content of it, okay? And why are they from there? They have 7, they have 9, and why sometimes the 9 is not, why some of the lists actually is not here, but it happened in other lists. In maybe included in like in envelopes or included in proclivities. Okay, what I will do is next class we will have a discussion first. Okay, so what you have to do the homework. Can you go back? Look at the list from the page. That will help you to become, something you can remember much better. Look at on page 87, like 4.5.27, right? There are 9 factors. So you have to look at the list of these 9 factors. What are they? And then please look at the list of the. Because those things I'm going to explain, I'm not going to read it because it takes a long time. look at the list of the 4.5.27. No, it should be 27. It's gone already. It should be 28. So that is the 4.5.28, right? There are 3, okay? And also look at the list 4.5.29, okay? You don't have to worry about their detail because I think normally without explanation it's very hard for you to understand the detail. But we're going to talk that. But look at the list differences and please look at the list 4.5.29. Yeah, that's mean 4.5.29. I think that's enough so far. So compare the list of the so difficult to translate factors. That means 4.5/27, and compare the list of the 4.5/28, the list of the bondage, and then the list of the 4.5/29, the list of the 7 procreativities. Okay. All right. Actually, I like you to do. Okay. Yeah. And then what you do next class, so you discuss what are they? What do you understand? Okay. In a group. So, and then you can have four people form in a group. Yes.
It's already in your handout, right?
Huh?
It's already here.
No. You have to read it through. No, actually no. In my handout, I didn't explain. Each one. What does it mean? You have to. First thing you need to check is whether they have the same item in these 3
category.
Yeah, in these 3
It's
categories.
not here, right?
Huh?
It's in the 41 conjoined the condition.
I mean, they all belong to 41 conjoined condition.
Right. Okay.
So, but or maybe in Chinese mean why? What are the lists? What are the lists? There are 7, right? Well, there are 9 of the these factors. What are the lists of the bondage? What are the lists of the procreativity? Yeah. And what does it mean by each one? But you read through it. If you don't understand, don't worry that much. But at least you have go through and know. Okay, I know some. You don't have to know all, because some of them are very complicated. Okay. So, I mean, some of the passages here are very complicated. It's not the list is not difficult, but you get to know the list first. Okay. Otherwise, when I say this again, you got confused. I never read it. I never heard it. Right. Okay. Right. Thank you so much, and we do the transfer marriage. And then you can go for your Christmas shopping.
May we transfer this marriage to all session, be made to be well and happy, and attend Nibbana eventually. Okay, sadhu. Oh yeah, but last thing, don't forget, if you have a question, to write the email. Okay. Yeah.